Tony Bradshaw with AddSomeToYourIncome.com here to talk about change. Hey, who would like more change in their lives? I'm talking about both kinds of change. When you make changes in your life, changing things from good to better, you will be able to find yourself able to make more income. Changes where you're being better and more valuable will bring you more income. Good gets in the way of great, and great is what makes you more profitable. I will be talking with some stories, some quotes, and just general information about change to help us to see what it is and how to move forward into the places of change. Because we're all a little uncomfortable with it. I have visuals. Let's move my face so you can see me right there and move into change. So as I said, we're a little uncomfortable. For example, in Chinese, there's a word for crisis, and it's danger and opportunity. When you are at these moments of opportunity and they're dangerous, it's fast changing and crisis for you. We can enter into the world of change and be ready to see the opportunities and take those actions that are going to bring us more cash. My dad's first skiing lesson was a little bit of a mess. He got up on the bunny slope, and he was married by now. It was actually my mom that took him to his first skiing. And he starts going down the slope and starts yelling at the kids in the way to move out of the way. When really, if you're above, you're supposed to be the one moving out of the way. But he didn't really know how to move. So my mom set him up so he would go across the slope. He went across the slope at a time when there were no other people, and he's getting to the other side, and there are trees, and my mom is yelling to move out of the way, and he finally falls over. They're like, okay, dust him off, put him back the other way. Now they had one of these ropes where you'd grab on, and it could pull you up to the top of the bunny slope. He's heading straight for this, small little kids. And he's like, get out of the way again. They're all scared. He's like Goofy. Hits the rope, flings him back again. All these kids fall down as well. My mom's like, okay, you need to learn how to snowplow, where you put your skis like this and slow yourself down. And control will come later. We just need you to be able to stop. Anyway, so all of us, when we're doing something new, number one, there's lots of failure, such as not knowing how it really works, like coming down the slope saying, get out of the way, when you're the one that's supposed to be moving. And then those learning moments where you're going to fall, you're going to need to get dusted off and try again. And you're probably going to be interrupting a lot of other people in your life and such. So here comes a quote from Steve Wozniak. The easier it is to do something, the harder it is to change the way you do it. Speaking of change, I'm going to change where my face is so you can see the rest of that quote. I had a moment of change that had been warned that would happen, and I still stuck to my old routine. And this was when I go swimming in the mornings, and I had seen the signs that said, we are going to redo this stair. And I would always go upstairs. So there was a men's locker room downstairs, and then there's a men's locker room that's upstairs. The one that was downstairs is kind of cold, and I would always go to the one that's upstairs. And even though I had seen those signs, that morning, I just zombie style, doing the exact same thing I always do. And I walked upstairs, got on my swim trunks, took my shower, and I went to that door and I literally pushed on it and it was locked. And then my brain is still waking up and I'm like, what? And there is a sign that says this will be locked for the dates that it was. And this is the reason why, because right now, as you can see in this stairwell, let me point it out a little bit, where all this caution tape is, usually there are stairs right here going up there. They were removed and replaced. and we had to use the bottom one. So I had to go downstairs and use that bottom one. And what was funny is that a few weeks later, when this was all done and could be used, I kept going downstairs, and I didn't like the downstairs locker room because it was colder than the upstairs one. It took me a while to get back used to going upstairs again. Those changes in routine happen. The door was locked. Anyway, here's a nice quote for us. Where do I get to move my head so you can see this? The automatic things that you do are basically those things that are keeping you from doing the better things you need to do, said Bill Murray. We could all use a little change. So I once had a wart on my finger, and it was gross, so I put a gross science thing here. And it was on there for a while. I just didn't care too much. But then my 9-year-old son got this really nasty wart on his foot that needed to be taken off. So we decided to get our warts taken off at the same time. I tell him it's going to hurt a lot. We go in, Dr. Freeman's the doctor, and he has this fun time, with the can of nitrogen, shows it puffing in the air and how it works and everything. And my son decides that I'm going to go first. So I do. And then it'll be his turn. So when it's his turn, I'm helping him. I'm, holding him in my arms. He's crying. My 5-year-old son is also there watching, mesmerized. And what I noticed about the wart is it falls off eventually, right? And then this whole new skin appears under there. And it's just smooth. It's untamed. It's wart-free new skin that comes underneath after you lose the wart. So people don't make changes because things are wonderful. So for me, the wart, it was just a thing. It was fine. It was not fine for my son, and he had to get his done. Thank you, Jamaica Kincaid, because it's so true. We don't make changes because things are wonderful. Change often happens quickly to us. I was once having a fire drill, and the principal and the firefighters decided they would make a certain hallway on fire. And as I'm coming out of my room and going, my usual route is through that hallway. All these students are starting to go into that hallway and then go back out of that hallway. And I hear the principal saying, "This hall's on fire." I then realize my usual exit from the school building will not work. And I have to go to a different exit. I also need to help these kids to calmly and safely exit out of the building. So I simply say, "Follow me." I do a U-turn and I go down to another hall and a right and a left, and I'm outside of the building. Just not the usual way that I would have gone. That sudden change helped all of us to realize we are going to need to be prepared in an actual event of a fire or other emergency and know the other exits. This quote comes from Octavia E. Butler. "In order to rise from its own ashes, a phoenix first must burn." May you be willing to burn so you can rise from the ashes. The way to bring about change is to be proactive and active. So I have a story from when I was in Boy Scouts and wearing a wetsuit. And they said, right at the beginning of us swimming in the ocean, the instructors, or the leaders said, pee now or forever hold your pee. And I couldn't do it. I was potty trained, and I was not able to aim, and it was, I just couldn't. I couldn't get myself to do it, and the other boys did, except for 2 of us, and I just moved on. Well, later, towards the end of our time, I'm realizing I need to go, and I went while I was still in my wetsuit and tried to hang out in the water for a little bit and clean it out, which was foolish. I look back on it now and realize I could have just wait a little bit longer, and when we got out, then go over in the bushes, which was what the other kid did. As for me, I felt like I was sitting and smelling the whole ride home because they made that change. Change can be tough to handle. I know that it can. When we do change, when we actually make that change, we are boarding onto a train that's going to take us into life. We are entering into life and all that it offers us, including its storms. So Kalida Sen said this, while Haruki Murakami said, when you come out of the storm, you won't be the same person who walked in. That's what the storm's all about. May each of you step into tomorrow knowing that today you focused on what you can change. The things you work on today that will increase your passive income. You get those done, entering that space of change, and you will have an increase to your income. I look forward to seeing you on the other side.